You know what? I freaking love coffee, but one of the main components of coffee is water. Now guys, as the title suggested, yes, the water supply here in America is threat of being under attack. Now this is actually coming from the White House. Imagine that, right? This has been a concern of ours and many other preppers, is that our water supply, our reservoirs, our facilities, wastewater, drinking water, all this stuff is susceptible to attack via crossing fence lines to hacking. Now with hacking, all they got to do is hack the system and they can change what type of chemicals are being treated in water and flood it. Now we've done reports on this in the past. We had one in Florida a couple years ago, I believe it was, and they were able to hack into the system and change the setting of a certain type of chemical to be dumped into the drinking water. Luckily though, they were able to catch it as soon as it happened, shut the whole system down, but it was an outside hack to the system. Now there was one in December, I believe it was Pennsylvania, we also covered that one as well, that their systems were hacked. So this is something that we are seeing more and more of, and now mainstream media is actually presenting it to us. So one of two things, all right? One, false event setup. Two, we got a major problem here, and honestly, I'm more leaning towards that. So what we have here, guys, pop-ups, of course, so you guys can kind of read along. We have the Communist News Network here. Now this is on all kind of different social media, news agencies posting this stuff, so they're open about it now. Cyber attacks are hitting water systems throughout U.S. Biden official warn governors. Pull up the article. Cyber attacks are hitting water and wastewater systems throughout the United States, and the state government and water facilities must improve their defense against this threat. The White House and Environmental Protection Agency warned U.S. governors on Tuesday. We need your support to ensure that all water system in the state comprehensively assesses their current cybersecurity practices. So the letter to governors from the EPA administration, Michael Reagan, yada, yada, yada. One of the biggest things that we have seen is that there's been attacks from Iran targeting systems that were designed by Israel. Now that was the big thing, I believe it was December, and basically like they had backdoors in, go into the system. What is America going to do about it? Well, quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do about it. Are they going to go in and change the entire system out, or what? I don't know. One of the things I will say as preppers, you, me, the average Joe, is that we have to make sure our family's prepared for such an event. If something was to happen to our drinking water, how much do you have? How much water do you have stored up? Quite frankly, guys, water takes a lot of room, all right? And eventually that water is going to empty out, all right? It's not going to last forever. There's arguments there, but like if you're storing water out here in Florida and you're not treating it or not cycling it through, you're going to grow algae in that sucker in just a few months. That's just the way it is, okay? Florida's rough. You need to have water filters, water filtration, all right? Doesn't matter what type of water filter you get, in my opinion, or who you buy from. I do like these ceramic filters. This here is infused with silver. Ceramic on the outside. It's got an activated carbon core on the inside. This thing filters out bacteria, the viruses, pathogens, chemicals, forever chemicals. It does a huge amount of filtration. This here is one of our go-tos. Having things like Sawyer Minis, Life Straws, those work great against bacteria. All right, I'm a big supporter of the not the Life Straw. I know people get mad at me about that one, but I've had to use that in the field and it sucks. Well, you're the one who has to do all the sucking. It's just hard to draw out and your head's near the water. Or you collect water and you're sitting there trying to use that Life Straw, and yeah, it's just, I like the Sawyer Minis. I do. I get the 1 gallon to 2 gallon bladder bags, fill it up, hook it up, let it filter out. If it if it gets clogged up, I use a back flush system, blow it right out. One of the things we did my apologies if we had the gremlins are back. We did a video out in the woods. I forget what day it was. Should be a pop-up there for you guys. That's all I had packed with me was the Sawyer, and I forgot my plunger, or I lost it in the woods. One of the two happened, and I had no water. No way of filtering out my water because the Sawyer Mini got clogged up, and that was it. Now, granted though, you can boil water. It's coming from a river, which would have been fine. I think I actually built a 3-tier water filtration system, filmed that, showed people how to do that. But that filter is only good for bacteria. And what happens when chemical contaminates your drinking supply? Let's say that you hooked up on the city. That water gets contaminated. Now what? All right, so if you have ways of storing water, and I don't care if you use these water bricks or jugs, whatever it is that you need to use, you go right ahead. I will say this, using milk jugs and stuff like that, they leak. They don't last as long. But I'm also going to say this, I've used them. All right, when I first started prepping, that's what I used. I washed out milk jugs, water jugs, whatever, even soda bottles. Filled them up with water, but I cycled them through. All right, I was using city water at the time, and city water is actually, there's chemicals in it. Now, I know we all know about fluoride and all that crazy crap. There's all kind of stuff in our drinking water. All right, if you're in city water, there's all kind of stuff in there. Okay, I do recommend filtering out your drinking water if you live in the city. And also in wells and stuff, guys, pharmaceutical stuff gets leached into the ground all the time. Okay, the water from the city, they actually treat it to, there's like bleach, I think it's chlorine, the actual chemical. They treat the water before it goes through the system and everything, before it gets to your house, so algae and stuff doesn't build up in the piping system underground and stuff. So you're already getting a dose of like chlorine and stuff like that. But now that water does last a very long time stored up because it's got the bleach in it and everything else. And unfortunately, everything else. But if you're storing up city water, make sure you got water filters too. I mean, just drinking from the tap is not the smartest idea. Buying bottled water, you know, you do you. Do some research on where those facilities are bottling this stuff up at. When I was in Clearwater, no, I was in Tampa, Florida. I did a welding job. We worked with US Air. Took down the wing ducts and tail ducts from Greensboro, North Carolina, I think it was. Or Winston-Salem, I forget. Anyway, took it down to Tampa. I was there for a few weeks to put everything back together. And the water, I just did not like the water. I grew up on well water in North Carolina. When I got down there, I hated the water. So went to the store, bought bottles of water. And it tastes just like the city water. And when I'm looking at the bottle, now mind you, I was young at the time, looking at the bottling company stuff, it was being bottled in Tampa, sold as bottled water in Tampa. Yeah. So with this, guys, possible false events, it's possible. You know, I saw a video from Goshen Prepper. Yeah, should be a pop-up there for you guys. He was covering some of this stuff. And he was talking about the influx of people crossing the borders, which we all know about the border crossing. And now I reported on myself because I want to see the information factual so I can actually speak on it. We had members of, you know, T groups, all right? You know, the people that want to cause harm to this country get caught, all right? People's been talking about it, but I wanted actual proof before I said, yes, this is happening. So that's actually happening. But in his video, he was talking about how they were secretly now, flying in like 300-some-thousand people. They weren't even hitting the border. They're flying right in. Who are these people? Are these nationalist groups? I got to watch what I say because I keep getting dinged when I use the wrong word on this platform, guys. Freedom of speech, right? When you're on someone else's house, you got to play by their rules. That's basically what it is. If I want the channel to make it, I have to say things a certain way just so you get the information, and I don't have my channel took down. That's it. It's easier for people to sit there and say, well, you should not care. The amount of work I put in this channel, I do care. All right. The big concern is that they're flying in sleeper cell units. Might not be the entire unit, but these are people that are against America. And when they get here, they disperse. No one knows where they go, and they are regrouping. Our water stations are vulnerable. All right. Our power stations, all right, the substations. You know, we've done videos on this stuff, guys. Drive around, you'll see transformers and stuff. All right, they're all over the place. Most have fencing and maybe a security camera. That's not a live feed security camera. It's one that records, so people can get in there and do whatever, and nothing happens until after the fact. We've seen where the substations were attacked, what, last year, year before? People just shooting them up. You know, we discussed that when we first started the channel, how vulnerable these things were. You could just sit off at a distance and take them out. It takes a long time to get it back up. Power grids run our lives, okay? Runs our refrigerator, runs medical equipment, everything, all right? You knock out the grid in a whole section somewhere, fuel, you name it, it's down. It is. Alternative power is great to have. Solar generators are awesome. Solar panels, awesome. You have your own solar grid. Alternative power, gasoline generators, whatever. You need to be working on preparedness as much as possible. We keep seeing the push, and I'll talk about it too, guys. I see it from other channels and myself. We got a major conflict coming. Is it all going to be overseas? You know what? I honestly do not know. I am preparing, though, that something will come here. And I think we all should be preparing for the events to come here. If it stays overseas and doesn't affect our daily lives here and doesn't have war in the streets here, you know what? Thank God. But I still prepare as if something major is coming this way. And the fact is, guys, it's just a normal preparedness stuff. It's stockpiling your canned goods, your dry goods, rotating that stuff out. Get you some long-term food storage if you don't want to deal with that. Alternative power, water filtration, water storage, you know what, gas masks, chemical suits, whatever. Whatever it is that your biggest concern is, and I'm not going to say for your biggest concern is that you're looking at things and you go, if this happens, I'm not prepared for it. Well, then work on getting the stuff. It might take some time. I don't know when things are going to happen. I'm just really concerned that it's going to be sped up really, really quick. This stuff with our cyber attacks on water, honestly, guys, I think they're already here. I think they've already been attacking this stuff, learning the back doors, learning how to change passwords, getting in there and changing stuff around, and even a direct attack on reservoirs. Guys, you can drive right up on these things and dump whatever it is that you want to in them. How dare you give them ideas? Man, I'm not giving anybody ideas. This is what I'm seeing. They already figured this shit out before they even got here. Prepare your family. All right, guys, so definitely appreciate you hanging out here. Make sure you give me that like and subscribe if you've never subscribed here. Got a lot of videos in our playlist, everything from outdoor survival to preparedness on how to do solar grids, you name it. I try to stay as busy as possible and make good quality content, something that can give you some information so you can build up off of. All right, guys. Speak to you later.